Hi everybody, it's Kris here from the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel. Just to let you know, as always, this podcast is now part of the 90-Minute Football Network and proudly sponsored by www.pt-4-u.co.uk. Enjoy the episode.
Good evening, everybody. We are back for our preview for the Newcastle United versus Burnley game. As you can tell, Deka is with me once again. Deka, scale of 1 to 10, how nervous are you going in this game?
At the minute, I'm about a 6, I'd say. 6. Yeah, I'm all right. I was the same as Norwich. I wasn't particularly nervous until it got to like the night before. Do you know what I mean? Like it then starts to. I think, to be really honest with you, it goes a little bit to what Bestie said on Monday, where I don't want to get relegated. Right, let's get that very, very clear.
Yeah.
But I don't feel the dread that I think I would have if the regime was the same way as it was before. Like if we had Ashley and Bruce was in charge, I would feel like it's a 10-pointer on Saturday. Does that make sense? Whereas at the minute, I'm like, okay. Like, I hope we stay up, but if I still have that feeling if we don't, then we're still in safe hands. It'll be fun while we're down there, type of thing. Which might be the wrong attitude, but it's just how I feel.
Yeah, I think though they've just mentioned this on Extra Time, so if people haven't watched Extra Time or weren't watching live, you can go back and watch that with Roger and Laura. Laura mentioned it on there as well that not so long ago, when the rumours of the takeover was going through, the question that was on social media was, would you take relegation if it meant the back of Mike Ashley? And we all sat there and said, yeah. And once again, Laura said this, but now that it feels real, it's not great. It's not a great situation that we found ourselves in. We said this on Monday night on the podcast. I think we said it on our reaction after the Norwich draw as well, mate, that the damage was done way before the takeover, long before the takeover, and it would have been a different beast, this football club, if that had happened in the summer, but it didn't. We're in this situation now. Then we're going in that game on Saturday against a fellow team who was in the relegation zone, and once again, just as we went into that Norwich game, you need all 3 points out of this one.
Oh, well, even more so that you haven't been able to beat Norwich. I mean, obviously, it's a funny one how confident I would have felt if I'd have beat Norwich going into Saturday. You would have been thinking, God, can we get 2 wins on the bounce? Things like that. But this is absolutely must win now. We can't, even a draw is not good enough. You know what I mean? If we had one on against Norwich, perhaps picking up a point here gets you 4 points, which a lot of people, I think, kind of said, didn't they, that 4 points will be okay. So it's an absolute must win, because I feel as if we don't win now, even though there's still enough games remaining, there's still enough points to play for, not being able to get a win within your first 15, I think you're in big trouble. Like.
So some of the things that we'll have to focus on going in this Burnley game, mate, is the starting 11 and the formation that we're going to be playing. Obviously, Dubravka is going to be in there. A lot of criticism coming in for him for the goal that we conceded, but I was looking at the comments from our video, which we did, and a lot of people defending Dubravka, saying that he couldn't really done much else with that clearance. I still disagree with that, to be fair.
Have you seen it back? I'm guessing you've seen it back.
Aye. Yeah.
I do feel as that's Darlow, the comments are different.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are concerned about what happens with the centre-back situation now, because Fernandes came on, arguably a man-of-match performance from Fernandes.
Yep.
Now Lascelles' single game ban is over. Club captain, he's going to walk back into that squad, isn't he?
Sadly, yes. Yeah. And it's obviously what we spoke about on post-match back, because it was almost one of the first things we thought about, wasn't it? Was, does that back four continue on Saturday? Mm-hmm. But I do feel that with Lascelles being club captain, in fairness, technically he scored right on Eddie Howe's first. Well, he wasn't there, but it was his first game. He got a goal. He's the captain. He's technically had a week off. He's had a rest. Yeah. I think he's in. I think it'll be him and Shea. I know Shea went down, didn't he? I know he continued, by the way, the full game, but he did go down injured, and it looked a bit troublesome, I thought.
First half.
Yeah, it was because I just lost Clark as well, and I thought, oh my God, don't say we're going to lose another one. But I think if Shea's fit to go, I think it'll be Lascelles and Shea. Not that I want that, but I think that's what it'll be.
Would you be shocked if you see 3 centre backs?
Yes, I would be very shocked. I think personally, I think he'll match Burnley and go 4-4-2, just like we did actually on Norwich. But to be fair, I mean, does he know his best team yet? You would like to think, you would certainly think what his back four is his best back four, but he's still probably finding things out and searching for a formula that works. So I get what you're saying about going, could he go back to 3 at the back? Maybe he could, but I think he'll stay with 4, and I think it'll be 4-4-2. I think Fraser will come back in as well. I feel like Fraser will, because obviously Fraser got hooked early doors, so I think Fraser may come back in.
So if we're going 4 at the back, then let's just say it is Lascelles and Fabian Schär there. Lewis keeps his spot at left back. Mankiw again at right back.
Yes, mate. For me, yes. Do you think Lewis will, or do you think Richie will come back in?
I think Lewis did a good job against Norwich, so I think it'll be pretty harsh to drop him. So it's not like the Lascelles situation where he's club captain. It's easier to bring Lascelles back into it than what it is bringing Richie back into the team. So for me personally, I'm starting Lewis there.
Yes. Well, personally for me, I know again Norwich aren't the strongest of opposition, right? But having said that, for me, Lewis after that performance has made the position his. And I think Lewis would have to do a mistake for Richie to come back into that position. Because at the end of the day, I'll go back to what we've said for weeks and weeks, mate. As we've said, we've got a left back sitting on the bench who can play the position that we require. So for me, he plays. And I was impressed with him against Norwich. I was. So hopefully he does start.
Midfield, another hard decision that Eddie Howe has to make there is the fact, does Willock continue to get that starting spot? Because another game passes him by, in my opinion, against Norwich. He just seemed a bit off the pace majority of it. Argument is, who do you bring in? Does Hayden come back into there to secure that midfield up? It's a strange one because we've saw Longstaff starting. Longstaff struggled. He came on as a sub the other weekend and he just couldn't get into the game with the Brentford game. He couldn't get up to speed with that one. To me, I'm bringing Hayden back into that team.
I haven't been impressed with Willock at all at any game, if I'm being honest. What I will say, maybe you give him one more game. Because I do feel that Willock's a more attacking option, of course, than Hayden. I think Hayden's more defensive-minded, which isn't a bad thing, by the way. But if we play 4-4-2, I would like to see Willock start. But what I will honestly say is if he doesn't perform in this game, he hasn't done it against Brentford, he hasn't done it against Norwich, hasn't done it against Burnley, I then start to question... We've played some really poor opposition there, in fairness, and you haven't been able to have any type of foothold in the game. I would then start to really worry, if I'm honest with you.
I think the problem, if we're looking at a 4-4-2 formation here to match Burnley, is it means somebody's missing out. It means somebody's getting dropped. Is Joelinton getting dropped? Is Sane getting dropped? Because who would you start on the flanks? So you've got the centre midfield. Who's going left? Who's going right?
For me, I would put Saint left. I would put Fraser right, and I'd put Joelinton behind Wilson. That's what I would do.
Okay.
That's if we're matching, by the way. Sorry, if we're matching, that's what I would do. I still worry slightly, to be honest, with Shelvey and Willock as the centre pairing in a 4-4-2. I just feel like none of them can really put the foot in. To be honest, there's no sort of holding midfielder there like Hayden gives you. And to go back to what I said, I think on Monday night, personally, I'd like to see 3 in there, and I'd like to see Hayden there. Don't get us wrong, Hayden there alongside Shelvey and Willock is what I would like. So
you've been shoving this from the rooftop for God knows how many years, Deka.
I know. I feel like I'm repeating myself. I feel like I know people are probably sick of it, but it's. I suppose it's topical conversation when we talk about shape and players and formations and stuff. I'm a big fan of 3 in midfield, especially if you're going to play a 3-prong attack, because you've got your 2 wide men. It depends on what you're going to play exactly, but I just like the idea of 3 in midfield because it gives you a little bit of stability in there, for me anyway. But it'll be so. What do you want to see? Like obviously we've talked there. Do you want to see 4 at the back? Are you not bothered? Do you want to 3 at the back? You're fine with? What do you feel?
I would like to see the same as what Darryl's just said there. Same starting 11, but obviously Ferry coming in for Clark and because I felt a bit harsh on Fraser not getting that chance.
Yeah, I agree.
He's obviously 9th minute, and he's the one that's sacrificed. It's his game that's completely out the window there. So for me, I would like to see what Eddie Howe was planning against Norwich, but obviously with Fetty coming in, 4 o'clock. Because obviously there would have been a game plan there, and like you said earlier, it could be a case that Norwich are going to be set up completely different to what Burnley are. You know what you're going to get from Burnley. It's been the same since the world ever existed. To be honest, with Burnley, it's just going to be lumping the balls diagonals towards the back posts and hoping for the best. But I think with Fernandez in there, I think in the air he's going to win a hell of a lot. I really think.
Well, obviously they've got Chris Wood, who is a real physical presence.
Yeah.
I actually don't think he's too bad of a footballer, to be quite honest with you, but he's certainly a physical threat. In fairness here, and I will be honest, I'm not a fan of Lascelles. What I was, but I'm not as much now. But what I would say is that a Burnley kind of oppositions may be okay for him, because it's going to be direct, it's going to be in the air. And I think
the ball.
Yeah, I think Lascelles can handle that. It's the problem you've got with Lascelles when he has to think, or when he has a player in and around him. Like a busy player, like a tricky player. That's when he struggles. Whereas he might be fine against the likes of Chris Wood. In fairness, go back to the cup game that I remember. Lascelles played really well in that cup game. To be honest, I know we lost it on pens, but by the by. But yeah,
I think the problem that I have though, Dick, I think the problem that has, and how long have we been seeing this, that we always struggle to stop the cross. And against Burnley, that's going to be happening constantly. And if you're putting your defenders under pressure, winning every single ball in the air, it's not going to happen all game. They're going to get chances unless you're stopping those crosses.
Yep.
So obviously, if Lewis is starting at left back, well, obviously we had that argument on Monday night with Deka. With Mark closing the winger down. Richie closing the winger down, which never happened. Still hasn't happened. I've watched it back God knows how many times. Hopefully with Lewis. I know. I think I've still got the slide on the screen. So hopefully with Lewis, you've got more chance of stopping the balls coming into the box. Same with Mankiw on the right hand side. It's their positions at the end of the day, left back and right back there. And for me, mate, that's crucial for this game. I agree with you. We need to control midfield. The only way we can really control that midfield is probably having 3 in there. Saint, to me, I mentioned this to you after Norwich, and I know we had a man sent off, but for Saint, to me, he just didn't look like himself in that game. So I'm hoping for big things from him as well. The likes of Burnley, you'd be thinking, right, Saint, just go wild, break some ankles, go wild.
Yeah, well, obviously Bardsley's apparently not fit, and I always, if I'm honest, Bardsley's like, right, he hates us and plays the game, and he's the type of defender that you would expect Saint to take advantage of. But I think if he gets hit by someone early, it might have the a different effect. But he's not playing, so that'll be interesting. But I know that Tarkowski's back for Burnley. Yeah, he's been missing. He's back, so he's a good defender.
I have to remember as well. Burnley only played last night. Was it last night they played?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was against Wolves. Yeah.
Wolves. So was it a 0-0 draw?
0-0 now. They're unbeaten in the last 5 games. Burnley. But they haven't won. I think they haven't won a game away from home in the last 8 games. The last 8 Premier League games. So Dr. Newcastle, we'll probably see you now. But they haven't won the last 8 Premier League games away. So I mean, but they're unbeaten in the last 5. So obviously means they're hard to beat. I watched the Wolves game actually against them, and to be quite honest, Burnley were poor. They were lucky. They were very lucky to get a point against Wolves. I just feel like if we're just my worry is the pressure on the players. That is my worry, because I'm sitting.
It's a huge game. We are sat here and we are a little bit worried. Those players thinking, shit, this. I don't want to say last chance saloon, but it's for any form of hope for me, and probably for the players as well. You're resting everything on that side of the game.
Yeah, you are, because I think if you look at the reaction from the Norwich game, or even before the Norwich game, Fraser was saying things like it's a must-win tonight. He was saying that about the Norwich game. So they all know how important it is on Saturday, and that can sort of make some players freeze in that kind of occasion. You know what I mean? You're hoping the opposite happens. If we could get off to a quick start and maybe grab a goal, that would be amazing to settle everyone's nerves. But It's Newcastle, mate, and we never do things the easy way. The one thing that you would hope is that people have learned, or the players have learned from Clark's 9-minute situation. You know,
Do you think they would have though, mate? Like,
I'm
how many
hoping
times
so.
do we see daft errors in that back four, and they never learn?
Well, I think errors in terms of, like, you know, maybe marking incorrectly or giving the ball away. But I mean, error, you know, like having your wits about you. Yeah, be careful in a challenge. How important it is to still remain 11 players, etc., etc. Let's hope that has been eradicated, and Howe's probably rinsed them, all of them, dry, not just Clark, you know. Yeah, I mean, we need to have any chance of winning this game. We need to have 11 on the field. Put it that way.
I think you need a big performance out of Callum Wilson as well. Last couple of games, he's been the one player that hasn't really had the spotlight because the rest of the players have stepped up. So obviously Joe Linton and Shelvey stealing the credit really, and the plaudits from everyone. I think this is a game where Wilson, to me, this is the sort of game that he's suited at. Obviously, the physical game, getting in the likes of the centre backs' faces, and to me, I'm putting Wilson on the score sheet on Saturday. Like,
obviously, I mean, he's a threat all the time. The thing is with Wilson, he might not touch the ball much in a game, but he's still got that. You know, he's still got that goal in him. That, as I mentioned just before, with Tarkowski coming back, he's going to have a tough afternoon, Wilson. And my concern is, personally, when I've watched her, not necessarily most of the Brentford game, in truth, but we still are quite direct, and Wilson's just having to try his best to shield the ball and, you know, wrestle with defenders. And to be honest with you, he gives more fouls away than anything else by trying to outmuscle the defender. I just would like
fouls
to
away
see
that probably aren't necessarily fouls most
of
the time, mate.
No,
similar to Mitrovic, very, very similar to Mitrovic, where Mitrovic was winning the balls and just being a bit rough, and everything going against him, and it would seem exactly the same with Wilson.
I'm hoping that we can give Wilson, you know, actual service. You know what I mean, like getting crosses in the box, but good quality crosses, not just direct balls up to him. You know, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
He does. Scott, was right. He does like a goal against Burnley.
He does. So Saint, obviously, the last season when he was just back from COVID? Is that when he got? It was the first game back from COVID.
Yeah. Well, maybe I think it might have been. He came off the bench, I know that much, and he completely changed the game because we were really struggling,
didn't he?
Yeah, his goal was absolutely insane as well. Absolutely insane. I'm sure he scored in the home game as well, and I think you might have said it Wilson, but yeah. So Saint's got that, you know, and that's why I forgive him probably more than anybody. I've seen people on Twitter actually yesterday saying that they're infuriated by him. He's the most, what was the word? The most infuriating player I've ever had and all this. And I'm thinking, God almighty, we don't deserve good things if you're going to start complaining like that about someone like that. Like, let's just chill out a bit, like, you know what I mean?
It's always those sort of players, though, isn't it, mate? That obviously get those. Obviously, Ben Arfa got it as well. It's those fair players.
Well, Mark's a funny one because he has a very similar vibe to the Ben Arfa situation with him. You know, I'm not saying he doesn't like him or rate him, but he almost has this thing inside which is happy to criticise him and almost wants him to do for us sometimes. I'm like, what on earth's going on here? I just look at other players that we've got in the squad. I mean, for example, the stuff I'm seeing on social media about St. Maximin sometimes. I think I said this to you, didn't I? And before we even started live the other night, the difference between Shelvey and Willock lately. So I see Shelvey just get shit all the time. The last couple of games, not so much, but generally speaking, he's lazy, he's this, he's that, giving the ball away all the time. I haven't heard a single peep about Willock playing poor. Not a single. I haven't seen nothing. In my opinion, Willock's been a ghost in many games. And I just feel if that was Shelvey, Christ, there'd be hell on. But anyway, sorry, I'm on a rant there. Apologise.
No, you're right, mate. You're 100% right. I fully agree with you there. So the game itself, mate, if I don't want to be too negative there, but I have to ask you this question.
Sounded like it.
Mate, I have to ask you the question. This is what we do. And this is a lot of people are pinning everything on this game on Saturday. If we don't come away with 3 points, would you say that's us done?
Yes. Well, yes. Because, but in fairness, I said before the Norwich game, I thought we were done. And I feel, I think if we get beat here, I do feel that's it. I mean, I tell you what, honestly, the only thing that is in the back of my mind that's kind of giving us any kind of hope is the window. You know, is it possible that somehow we'll do some really, really good business and all of a sudden shoot up the table? But to be, as I've mentioned at the start there, to be going 15 games without a win, And bearing in mind the opposition we've played against, you know what I mean. We've played some winnable games. Southampton at home, Brentford at home.
We've played all that mini league. We've played that mini league, mate, and now after this one, you've got the big boys coming up. Obviously, Everton looks shocking at the minute, but you know what'll happen. Come obviously we'll play them and probably get slaughtered off them because we're that team. We are that team.
We're bottom of the league. We haven't won a game. I mean, so like, no offense here, but we're getting similar to what Sheffield United were. You know, when them last season when them couldn't win a game, and obviously we rocked up and they beat us. But like, I know obviously we look at teams like, for example, you said Everton look shocking at the minute, but Everton will know we're shocking. Like them will think we're shocking. So it's you know, it's a tough one. I just feel that tomorrow, Saturday is huge. And if we could win on Saturday, what a shot in the arm that would be for everyone involved. That would be the sort of the monkey off your back. It's you know. You try and move on to the next games and etc. But if they don't win on Saturday,
a massive thing, mate. I think it's a huge confidence thing now, and the players will be feeling it more than anybody else. It's 14 games now without a win. Games where we've had God knows how many chances to win them. Obviously, you look at the Watford game, mate. We can go on that there's loads of games that we've had in that mini league where last minute chances and you're thinking what's happened there, and likes of penalty shouts and stuff like that.
We've been very unlucky. We have been. I will say there's been a fair few games where I think we have been unlucky. The one thing that I'll go back to quickly is the Norwich game in terms of the attitude of the players and the voices that I'm hearing from within. Like, I think it was Shelby came out and said a really strong quote, I thought, where he said something like, listen, as far as I'm concerned, we will stay up because I've got every confidence in that group of players. I've got every confidence in the work that we're doing at the minute, and we'll do it type of thing. There was a really sort of strong quote there. I felt that there seems to be a real belief with it amongst the group, which as long as you've still got that, then you've got a chance, I guess.
Well, mate, I was listening to the Pod on the Time podcast this morning with George, Kris and Taylor, and George had recorded, they'd done like a day in the life of sort of thing where they're recording themselves at the game, just obviously walking to the game. So Taylor was on the way as a fan, Kris was obviously in the press box, and George was in the stand as well. And George afterwards on his voice notes after the game, he's saying that we're seeing destined for the drop. It's one of those seasons where everything's just going against Newcastle United. You look at the whole Eddie Howe situation, you get a new manager in, he gets COVID the night before the first game. It took so long to get rid of Bruce, etc., etc. Then he says the thing is that this team, the attitude from that playing staff is second to none for me. It's been a while since we've had a group of players, which I wouldn't say necessarily thankful for, but you can tell, despite what's happening on the field, they are giving it their all.
Yeah.
And we saw that Norwich. It's a prime example.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, and again, this is why, in a sense, you know, when we talk about being nervous for Saturday and stuff, I mean, of course, as I said at the start, I am a little bit, but I generally feel, it sounds really ridiculous to say this, but I generally feel in a happy place when we're sitting bottom of the league. But like, I've got so much belief in Eddie Howe. Like, all I can say, right, is it might not work out in the end, right? But what I will say is everything he's trying to do at the moment is everything I've ever asked for.
Yeah,
that's all I've asked for, is a manager to come in with fresh ideas, wanting to work hard, trying to get the best out of the group of players we've got. And that's what he's trying to do. And all right, we haven't won yet with him, but you can see from the outside looking in that he is trying everything he humanly can to make that happen. And for me, like, that's all you can do. That's all you can, you know what I mean?
You can see from the fitness of the players, mate, like how much it's improved over the last few weeks. And you've had players coming out in an interview and not openly slagging off the previous coaching staff and management, but you can tell that things have changed massively. And we saw the photos today of the back of the dressing room, the church. What the hell's that area called? Dressing room? Changing room?
Well, dressing room, that's right, the dressing room, changing room.
So the back of that, obviously, they've knocked through, which was part of the players' lounge, people were saying, and just a huge
I wondered how they got the room. I wondered what it used to be.
Yeah, but so they've knocked through there, and it's sort of a warm-up area. There's obviously just artificial turf in there and a few exercise bikes. But
they'll be in there like passing and stuff, warming up. It's
exactly.
Really,
just basically warming the muscles up. The basic sort of stuff, mate. The absolute basic, why is this not being thought of before, or has it? And
Yeah.
it's a fact that the previous owners just thought, no, we're not doing that. And like, you
I
don't
definitely
know.
think, yeah. I definitely think. To be fair, I don't think Steve Bruce would have thought of that. If I'm being brutally honest with you,
Yeah.
but I do think that maybe it could have been something Rafa may have perhaps thought of, or I'm not necessarily saying a big room like that, but we know that Mike Ashley would never ever fund something like that. And in fairness, again to the new owners, they've knocked that up within 5 minutes. You know, that's what Eddie Howe's asked for, and they've done it. And again, it's just another little piece of the puzzle that we're trying to be better. And the one thing that we've every single fan of this football club has asked for is to try and be the best we can be. And I feel that that's what we're trying to do now. It's going to take a lot of time, but these little things that we're trying to do, we're just trying to better ourselves.
I think this is why we're sat in this position, like we've said, and like you've said there tonight, that we're sat rock bottom of the Premier League, and we're still thinking, you know what it is, like the future looks a hell of a lot brighter than it ever has done.
Yeah. And outside fans looking in must think we're absolutely mental. But what I have to say though, and I'll say it again, and I've said this so many times, this media perception of that we expect too much and we ask for too much that's why it is utter bullshit. Yeah. Because us as fans are sitting 20th and we're sitting smiling now, we're happy because we've got a bloody warm-up thing made for the players. Like, do you know what I mean?
Like, grass in the cupboard.
We've got we've got 2 training bikes and a bit of fake grass, and we're like, this is it, you know. And that's what I mean by like we don't expect the earth, and it's you know, and we are happy. I'm happy with what I'm hearing. It's happy with what I'm seeing. I appreciate the results on the field. Eventually, of course, have to change, but as I've said before, we're trying our best. You know what I mean? And these little changes that are being made, you can see that the ownership care massively, like massively. And the things that the owner made, I put on Twitter, like saying, like, you know, almost like apologizing, but then saying like, we're so glad that you're still behind her. You know, it means everything to her, which it does. You know, and I get that. And Eddie Howe, as I say, I cannot speak highly enough of the things that he's said and done since he's come in.
And do you know what it is, mate? And we're sat here thinking, if we don't get 3 points against Burnley, we're basically admitting defeat. But then I think of it the other way and thinking, like we've said there tonight, we've got every bit of faith in Eddie Howe as well. So I think until it's mathematically impossible, I'm still backing this team. You know, I really am.
Yeah, and there's nothing. You know, that's, you know. I know I said on Monday that we're down. What I mean is like, it's not that we're not down. Of course, because it's not mathematical. So we're not down. I just think
it's just the incline's getting a hell of a lot higher.
It just takes a hell of a lot. That's all I'll say. But I do agree that, you know, if Eddie Howe can continue to try and get the players fitter, get them to keep, you know, learning his way, the way that he wants them to play, which again takes time. Get a little bit more rub of the green would be nice, you know what I mean? A few penalties our way rather than against us. I appreciate we got one against Norwich, but that was the first of the season. It would be nice, and you never know. And as I said just before, if we can win on Saturday, what a shot in the arm that would be the whole city. Like,
right, Deka, give us a scoreline.
I'm going 2-1 Newcastle.
Okay, I think it's going to be a pretty poor game, and I'm going to say 1-0 Newcastle, and Callum Wilson will grab it.
We'll take that, eh? We'll take that.
We need it. We need it, mate. It doesn't matter who's scoring. We'll take an own goal. Any sort of goal, mate.
I might finally be able to say my line on Monday. Finally.
Oh, God, maybe this is what it is. Maybe we're using that line. I know. I couldn't even, when was the last time you said it? Who was the last?
Honestly,
what was the last game?
Well, it was last season, wasn't it? Obviously.
Well, I think the last home game was it not Chelsea?
Oh, I don't know.
I just made that up.
Honestly, I
can't remember.
I think you just made that up.
I might have just made that up. I can't remember. Somebody in the comments will know the exact last time I won, because I haven't got a clue when it was, because it feels like absolute centuries ago.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. It's a long time ago. Like, it might even be away from home. I can't even remember the last St James's Park win. I can't remember it. I can't. Which is awful, but I can't.
I can't. So right, Deka, you're going 2-1. I'm going 1-0. And like we said, as soon as you get that first win, then hopefully you'll see more on the back of that, and it'll just roll over. Our last win was Fulham, last game of last season,
of course.
Yeah.
Yes. So there you go. So we haven't won at St James's Park.
Last home win was Sheffield United. So there was a game that we allowed back. Would have been that one.
God.
Yeah, and that was an absolute stinker of a game. We didn't even deserve that one either.
It's sad, that, isn't it? It's a long old time ago, that, like, but
I think landing on this one, mate, Callum Lewis has
Okay.
just put in there that Eddie Howe is having to fix the mess that Bruce has done. It's not just Bruce; it's the ownership. The mess has been there for a long
Yeah,
time. Bruce didn't
it
help
has.
the situation, really
No.
didn't. But like we've said, I've got every bit of confidence in Eddie Howe. He's doing all the right things. He's making those improvements, obviously within the likes of the tactics, the training preparations. At the club itself, at the ground itself in St James's Park, we're seeing those changes. You're seeing them on the training field as well. It's these little things where hopefully we'll start to see the evidence that they're helping out.
I think as well, just to add before we finish, is the connection that Howe's made with the fans has been unbelievable from the off. He said the right things. He's been out on the field applauding the supporters like straight away when he's had the opportunity. And I know people could say, "Oh, well, he's bound to do that," but not every manager does that when they haven't won a game. It's easy to come out when you've won your first home game and you're loving it and you're fist pumping the crowd. But we held on to the 1-1 against second bottom, and he was out there applauding the fans, which I thought was tremendous. He did it at Arsenal. He went over to Arsenal after we got beat. Yeah. He's had a fantastic connection with the fans since coming in.
Yeah. Right, well, mate, we'll call it a night. It's after 10 o'clock, man. What we're doing? Why is it with me and you doing late night podcasts?
We're getting late ones, aren't we? Yeah, it's all right, mate. I love seeing you on a night time.
I'll see you upstairs, mate.
All right.
Right. Thanks everybody for watching. As always, if you did you just say thank you to me or to the
No, I said
watching?
thank you to them people watching. Well, thank you for having us on, Chris. It's been lovely.
But yeah, thanks to everybody that has been watching there, people that have downloaded the audio as well. We've had quite a few tweets today, people tagging in the Spotify things over the last 12 months, where it tells you your most listened to podcasts and things like that. Yeah. So that's always good to see as well. Deka's now in the Telegram group as well. Have you muted that one now?
Yeah, that's muted. Yeah, well, it's just I just don't have the time, like full, with my kids and that and work and what have you. But and the Gallowgateshots one, I mean, there's 1,000 messages a minute, and that really is. But no, I'm trying to make an effort. To be fair, I'm trying.
Yeah. So if you are a member, if you do want to become a member, we've had a few private messages as well. People asking how to do that. If you do go on the homepage of the YouTube channel and click on join, it's $2.99 a month or $4.99 a month. You choose whichever level you want to go at. You get early access to a lot of the videos, including the My United videos. There's a handful of those there now, as well as access to that Telegram group, which we've just mentioned, which basically it's similar to WhatsApp group. And every member of the channel gets a code to join that group and just have a bit crack with fellow Newcastle United fans. Like-minded people. It's pretty positive in there at the minute as well.
It is, all right.
Yeah. So thanks, everybody. Thanks, Deka.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank everybody else.